Hello everyone, now this is the third part of the chapter, the magic bed. And in the, previously I had explained that how the prince met with the ant and the tiger, and then the fakir, and then how he met a lady, an old lady to whom he was just wanted to live in a Princess Laloon's state. And then he was just make the lady ready, wanted to convince him that he will not disturb in any of the way, and then he have stayed there. And on the behalf of that, the prince had given him the food also and the water also with the lady needed. As it is the restriction, it is the edict of the Raja that no one in their country should be allowed to give the shelter to the stranger. Still, the prince had convinced the lady, and then let's continue in page number 43. Did you count them? Asked the prince. There are 12 gold plates and 12 gold spoons. The old woman nodded and put them away under her bed. You may stay, she said, but be careful that the Raja's soldiers don't catch you. By this time it was the night, and the prince and the old woman sat in a darkness, for there was no lamp on the home. The Raja does not allow lamp to be used, she said. His daughter, the Prince Laloon, sits on the roof of her palace at night and shines so that she lights up the whole country. Just then a beautiful silver radiance, shining blue, filled the room, and when the prince stepped outside, he saw that the princess was sitting on the roof of her palace. Her sari or dress was too of silver gauze. Gauze means light net clothes it is, and her dark hair floated almost to her feet. She wore a band of diamond and pearls across her head, and the light that came from her was as beautiful as that of the sun and the moon and the stars together. Then the prince had given all the dishes which was served. The bowl had served, the bag had served the food now, so it was served on the gold plate. So the prince had given everything to the old lady, and then it was going to be dark. Then there was no lamp in the old lady's home because this estate was lighted up by the glorious light of the Princess Laloons. And what she wore a knitted dress, and wear a diamond and the pearl necklace on her forehead, and the light is coming through her body like the sun and the moon is giving the light, and the same way her body is giving the glorious light, and through that whole estate is going to be lightened up. Now page number 44. The ant Raja was right, said the prince. Her beauty turns darkness into light and the night into day. I should never be weary of the Princess Laloon. At midnight, the princess came down from her roof and went to her bed. Then the prince sat down on his bed with his bag in his hand. Bed, said he, take me to the prince's palace. So the bed took him where she lay fast asleep. Then he shook the bag. He said, I want a lovely shawl embroidered in red and blue and gold. The bag gave it to him, and he spread it gently over the princess. Then the bed carried him back to the old woman's cottage. The bag gave the prince and the old woman breakfast and dinner and supper the next day. And when night came, the prince again sat on the roof. This time her sari was of white silk covered with a diamond. butterflies, and she shone more gloriously than before. Then, now what happened is that when the midnight started, then she just came down and sleep. That time the prince came in her room on his bed and gifted a beautiful shawl of the red, blue, and the gold embroidery. She just covered the princess and then came again. Then and also gave the all the necessary things, that in the food, in the water, everything to the lady. Next again he had seen Lalus with a very beautiful white sari, and she was just looking more glorious, more beautiful than she was looking yesterday. Then at midnight, the princess went to her room again, and then the prince told his bed, "Take him again to the palace," he said to his bag. "Bag, I want a very beautiful ring." The bag gave him a ring set with rubies, which he slipped on the princess's finger as she lay asleep. And then, when she woke, the prince told her who he was. When the princess saw what a noble, handsome young man he was, and heard that he was the son of the great Raja, and that he was the one who had brought her the magnificent shawl the night before she fell in love with him, and said she would tell her father and mother that she wanted him to be as her husband. Then the prince went back to the old woman's cottage. King Afzal. Now the next day again, when the princess went to her bed, the prince gifted her a ruby ring, beautiful ruby ring. And then the princess woke up, and she was just also fell in love with the prince and agreed to marry with the prince. What happened next? That the king asked the Afzal. Princess Lalu's father sent for the prince the next day and told him he might marry the princess because she wished it. But first, said he, "You must do this for me." He had just given him a few things which he has to do. First thing, what is that? Here are 8 pounds of mustard seed, and you must crush the oil out of them in one day. "It is impossible," said the prince, as he went away from the palace. "How can I do it?" And when the old woman heard of him, she said, "It is quite impossible. Only an army of an ant could do it." Then the prince talked to the ant Raja, and to the very minute he thought of him, the ant Raja and all his ant crept under the door and into the room. "If I do not crush all the oil put to the mustard seed before tomorrow morning, King Afzal will not allow me to marry the Princess Lalu." The prince said, showing the bag of mustard to the ant Raja. "We will attend to it for you," replied the ant Raja. "Go to sleep and leave it to us." When the prince awoke in the morning, there was not a drop of oil left in the mustard seed, and with a light heart, with a very happy heart, he took it to the king. Then he had given him the task. What the task is that? He had given him the 8 mustard seeds bags and tell him to take out the oil through that, which is totally impossible. Then he had taken all these bags and asked the old lady, how can it is possible? Then the old lady told him that it can be only the ant can only just take out the oil from the mustard. Then we know that when at the beginning, when we have seen that the ant Raja promised her that any of the time whenever he needed, they help him. So the prince called the ant Raja, and the ant Raja was there with all his troops, and they had taken out all even the single drop of the oil from the mustard until the next morning. Then he had taken all the water, and then he had given it to the excuse me. given it to the Raja. Then he was very surprised. Again, that's very good. Indeed, said Afzal Raza. But I have something else to do. Then he had given another task. And what it is? One day when I went out in the hill, I caught two demons and I had them shut in the cage. I want them killed because they may break out someday and harm my people. You may marry the prince Lalus if you can kill them. So he had given another task him to kill the two demons. तो राक्षसों को वो लेके आया था. So he had given him the task to fight with them and then kill. Then he was very much surprised and said, no, it is not possible. Then he had again asked the old lady, then how can it is possible? Then how she had answered that only a couple of tigers could do this. Replied the old woman. As soon as the prince remembered his tiger, they came in through the door. Take us to the king, said the tiger. So now the prince just thinking about the tiger, and the tiger and the tiger's food came there. As the tiger had promised him to help him during whenever he needed. Now the princess asked the Raja if the tiger might fight the two demons. He said he might do so, for he was very anxious to get rid of the demons. So all the court came to see the fight, and the tigers killed the demon, and they both tiger had killed them. Now the another task that the Raja had given, and what it is that they had given a very big drum to a kettle drum they had given, and just tell him that you are rather stupid, said the woman. If your bed tried, so he had given him another task that beat the kettle drum, you shall marry the Prince Lalu. So it is in the middle of the sky. So again he had asked the old woman. The old woman had suggested him that sit on your bed, keep the kettle drum on it, and then beat it. You can see the picture also over here. See, here this is the kettle drum. Prince is there in his bed and he is just beating up the drum. And then this is the last task that given by the Raja, and which he had just fulfilled. And then he is allowed to get married to the Princess Lula. Last second paragraph. The wedding shall take place as soon as you like, said the Raja. When the prince came down again, and so the prince sent the bed, the bowl and the bag to the fakir. And then he married with the princess and came back and returned all the things to the fakir and taken his horse. And then invitation to the wedding was sent to all the kings and the queen of the neighboring country. And after they were married, the prince took the princess Lalu to his own country. Now they both came back to their own country.